Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the 3rd annual SIP Virtual Inclusion Conference, Driving Inclusion Forward, Shifting Beliefs into Action. I'm Kevin Schaefer, Director for the Supporting Inclusive Practices Project. Day 1 of the conference was packed with learning, joy, and collaboration. We started the day with musical inspiration from DJ B Diamond, who's back for day 2. And by the way, she's a tough act to follow. Keynotes Jonathan Mooney and Nicole Tucker-Smith dropped an infinite number of truth bombs, and in between, the breakout session presenters shared their experiences and knowledge on varied topics, including the California Alternative Pathway to a Diploma, Rightful Presence, Parent-Family Support, PBIS, multilingual learners with disabilities, and more. Here at SIP, one of our overarching goals is to create a community across California that serves students in truly equitable ways, that meet the needs of all youth, are reflective of their individual identities, promote disability as value add to our diverse school population, and leads to college career success with a competitive, integrated, family-sustaining wage for all. And on that note, we'd love for you to introduce yourself in the chat, include your name, where you're from, your role, and one takeaway from yesterday. And while you're doing that, our team would like to once again thank the El Dorado and Riverside County Offices of Education for their continued support of our project, and the California Department of Education for believing in this work and encouraging us to continually be innovative, inclusive, and impactful. Don't forget that vFairs, our conference platform, offers many embedded accessibility features you can customize to meet your needs. You can access these features by clicking on the blue icon on the top right side of your screen. In addition, we have enabled closed captioning and have ASL interpretation and Spanish translation available for you. If you have any questions, head over to the information desk for support. Now, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our Day 2 opening keynote speakers, the Mod Squad. Meet Bella Santoyo, Otto Lana, and William Del Rosario. Collectively, they are the Mod Squad. MOD stands for Mastering Our Destiny. Together, they're showing the world what can be done when given access to communication and the opportunity to use it effectively. These amazing inclusion trailblazers met in a social skills class, but very soon began to challenge their teachers by letting them know they wanted learning experiences that were authentic, like their peers. They became fast, typical friends who planned fun adventures. Each time they go anywhere, they bring their letterboards or AAC devices, which enables them to have real conversations with the community and freely set communication expectations. The three together are a force that ignite change. It is our hope that you'll join us in a mission to make communication accessible for all. One quick note. At the request of the Mod Squad, I'll be describing each slide prior to the presenters offering their content. Allow me to introduce the Mod Squad. The virtual stage is all yours. The slide on the screen, you'll see the words Inclusion, a Journey or Crash and Burn, presented by Mod Squad's William Del Rosario, Isabella Santoyo, and Otto Lana. Why, who, and how? Around a picture of the Mod Squad, along with a winding road and a car that's crashed and a red sports car in the center of the screen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for logging in today to meet us and listen to our story. Before we get started, we want to thank Janelle Mercado, Heather Snipes, and everyone at SIP for inviting us and for all the work they do to drive inclusion forward. Next, it is not our intention to injure, trigger, marginalize, offend, discriminate, or make anyone feel uncomfortable. with the descriptions of our lived experiences. You will notice we have chosen a scrapbook motif for our presentation today. That is because this presentation is our recollections of our memories, our accounts of the events that have shaped us into the leaders and change makers that are sitting on the virtual main stage today. Our slides have several images which our moderator will describe because we believe in universal design. You shouldn't have to request access. Access should be built in, hardwired, normalized. In education, especially, I hear the phrase, remember your why. It is a prompt to remind you why you chose your path, your degree, your employment. It is supposed to ground you, center you, give you the jump start you need on days when you can't get your engine started or when you get stuck in park. When it comes to the topic of inclusion, everyone wants to know how. Change is hard. Change is scary. How can we possibly take those kiddos and put them in a class with the general ed students? Separate is just fine, isn't it? Fine for whom? We want you to take a moment and remember the who. Too often, we lose sight of the who. Preschool to 22 is a long and windy road. We want you to think about what it takes to reach the destination, the finish line. We want you to think about the twists and turns, the fender benders, and the rollover crashes that can happen at any moment. We want you to think about the guardrails that are in place, the speed bumps, the road signs. We want you to question why they are there. Are they working? Are they necessary? Do they help? Or do they hinder the journey? Welcome to our presentation, Inclusion, the Journey, or Crash and Burn. I am Radulana. I am a high school senior, graduating in June. My pronouns are he and him. In my presentation, I use the pronoun he or she, or we, but I acknowledge others of different pronoun preferences. I have short brunette hair, stylishly gelled back, dreamy blue eyes, and a smattering of sun-kissed freckles. I use augmentative and alternative communication tools in my everyday life. And yes, that is in fact an Australian accent you hear. That is because I think Australian is the coolest accent, and I am the coolest user you will ever meet.
The slide shows a photo on the right side of the Mod Squad. On the left side of the screen, the words Mod Squad. It is a good thing we've been labeled a flight risk because we're launching a moonshot. Just above a picture of an astronaut with the American flag on the moon. Mod Squad mission, friendship, positive images in media, inclusion, change makers, communication, access, support, mod living, master your destiny with MMC, making waves with advocacy. In the center of the screen, you'll see Mod Squad for Access, established 2019.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. My name is William Del Rosario. A brief visual description of myself. I'm a 24-year-old Hispanic Filipino male with short brown hair, brown eyes, and I wear glasses. I have a passion for learning and am currently earning my high school diploma one letter at a time. I have autism, apraxia, am a multimodal communicator and use augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC, via typing in my iPad. My friends call me Right On William. I am an advocate who believes in society becoming a world of possibilities. I invite you to join me in making this happen for everyone. This presentation is a collaborative effort with my squad. As Otto mentioned, we chose a scrapbook theme for our slides. For me, Having a blank book represents the emptiness we lived in before communication. Together, we are building memories and experiences woven with the 26 letters that are unlocking our potential. We hope you will release any ideas you might think limit a person with autism and listen with a warm heart. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Next up is my amiga, Bella.
Thanks, William. Hello, everyone. I'm Bella, also known as the Sassy One. A quick visual description. I have long brunette hair and walnut-colored eyes. I am a Hispanic first-year college student and the first AC user at my campus. I am autistic and have sensory and motor differences. Both my speech and my movements are unreliable, but these challenges do not impact my ability to understand or learn. Last year, I finally met my goal of earning my high school diploma. Something that would have never happened had I followed the dead-end path I was placed on in special ed. What you will learn about us is that we overcame the barriers of a marginalized education. We are not special, but we made it out of the system that had a duty to serve us, the system that you are tasked to change. Many needed waves of change must begin so that our stories are not repeated. So who is the Mod Squad? And what is our mission? A little backstory. William, Otto, and I signed up for the same social skills class. One day, both my and William's mom couldn't make it to class, so our dads went instead, and our delinquent behavior gave way. But our only crime was that out of sheer boredom, we overtook the class. We realized that we already knew about friendship, and what we really wanted was to be together in everyday environments doing what friends do, just hang out. And that is exactly what we did. We truly solidified our friendship over tacos and fries. We were all dealing with barriers constantly being placed in our path. It is everything when your access is denied because of your differences. The more we got to know each other, the more we bonded as one. It was only natural that we were asked to create a presentation about our friendship. That was the catalyst that ignited the Mod Squad. We formed Mod Squad for Access LLC and have been busy creating needed waves of change ever since. As public speaking advocates, inclusion is one mission we are passionate about. Inclusion is more than a setting, it is a belief that all humans are meant to learn together. Inclusion respects humanity in all its diversity. Schools should be the beginning foundation for belonging, acceptance, and equitable learning for all, irregardless of one's differences. It might surprise you what we have been able to accomplish with access to communication, education, and badass, high expectations. Let's check out our next slide.
This slide shows many pictures of the Mod Squad in different settings and presentations that they've attended and facilitated. The Neuroscience Conference, Summer Leadership Institute with Inclusive Schooling, the Kama Communication Always Matters Always, TACA Conference, Advocacy in Sacramento, DVU Self-Advocates Speakers Bureau, Young Adult Advisory Board, Universal Design for Learning for CAST, UDL, EARN, and the Center on Youth Voice, Youth Choice, Empowering Youth to Advance Alternatives to Guardianship, California Youth Ambassadors.
As you can see, we've been quite busy as these are just a few highlights of our advocacy in action. Starting with KAMA Conference, which stands for Communication Always Matters, Always. A true friend and mentors to my squad. As AAC users, we share what is possible with communication access. Tomorrow is KAMA's virtual conference, and my love Otto will be the keynote speaker, so please check it out. Serving as the state of California's youth ambassadors for the Center for Youth Voice, Youth Choice, is a role we are extremely proud of. CIVIC is a national resource center for youth with disabilities. Mod Squad was invited to join forces with the organizations Disability Rights California, Disability Voices United, the State Council on Developmental Disabilities, and UC Davis Mind Institute. As youth ambassadors, we will be preparing a project to spread the word about alternatives to guardianship. During the pandemic, we did something we had never been given the opportunity to do before: participate in an expressive arts program. Our great friend and ally, Elaine Hall, is founder of the Miracle Project. It was in her groundbreaking expressive arts class where we created our first music video, Let My Type and Let You See, as part of the Express Yourself class. If you haven't seen it, you can find it on the Miracle Project YouTube channel. Otto, take it away.
Thank you for the plug for tomorrow, Bella. Yes, I am a keynote speaker for Karma. I go on at 8:30 in the morning. www.educate4.com. That's the number 4 to register. Use this code to get 50% offer. AC50, the number 50. Funding should never be a reason to miss me and the gems I be dropping. We also have a free code for paraprofessionals and families. Please contact me for the free code. Advocacy gives me just as much as I give it. I'm energized by all the effort I put into my advocacy work. I rarely say no to opportunities to make the world a better place. Advocacy normalizes disability. Advocacy paves the road for those behind you. Advocacy shines a light on those in the margins and brings them into the fold. Plus, I love being on center stage. An extroverted, autistic. There's an oxymoron for you. There's some cognitive dissonance to think about. All these photos are just the tip of the iceberg. We do so much more. We speak to lawmakers, homemakers, educators, and everyone in between. Advocacy creates a community of belonging. Belonging is a state of mind, not necessarily a geographic location. Effective and reliable communication is an entry point, a portal to belonging. Autism Tree Project Foundation is a local non-profit who casts a wide net. We have found a permanent place in the annual Neuroscience Conference, 4 years running and no end in sight. Think about it. Disabled children who were written off just years before are now young adults, presenting right along with world-famous researchers, neuroscientists, neurologists, and physicians. I also host a book club where best-selling authors, even Pulitzer Prize winners, can be found sharing their thoughts on writing and life in general. Inclusive Schooling has an annual Summer Leadership Institute. Some of you may have seen us there. I have the honor and privilege of inviting Judy Heumann to present with me at SLI. You heard correctly, the freaking mother of disability rights. I won the Heumann Armstrong Award, so I asked Judy if she would present with me at SLI. Of course she said yes. When I tell people I am connected, like a mob boss, they laugh until they get an email from Judy Heumann. The Center for Applied Special Technology is dedicated to providing a comprehensive framework for universal design in learning. Bella and I are working with CAST, UDL, forming their latest guidelines. Universal design is more than enlarged bathroom stalls and curb cuts. We help shape the language around inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. We are shaping the next new idea. Word choice matters. Language matters. Communication matters.
Taking our advocacy to others is important for us. Equally important is making sure that everyone's voice, even those that are quietly loud, gets heard. We truly enjoy the energy of the movement that has been driving change for communicators. The Autism Community in Action, or TACA, is an organization near and dear to our hearts. In 2019, my mom and I shared my communication journey at their National Autism Conference. Since then, they have made sure to include presentations on AAC with a focus on communication at each of their conferences. The Moth Squad has shown up to present on friendship, supported decision-making, and more. We are present, ambassadors of hope, and we love showing the parents at this conference what is possible for their children too. Last year I was on their panel of young adults with autism. One of the highlights was having Temple Grandin walking, shake our hands and listen to what we had to say. The next day, during her keynote presentation, she shared about the importance of AAC and multimodal communication. We are proud supporters of TACA and their mission to help every individual with autism achieve their most independent life. Disability Voices United, DVU, is a nonprofit organization focused on advocacy and driving change with the systems that serve individuals with disabilities. They have been an important resource and support for me and my squad. I am a student intern with their Communication Access Connect, and we host a monthly webinar. Bella, Otto, and I have received training with their Emerging Leaders program and are part of their Speakers Bureau. Last year, we made our first trip together to Sacramento to meet with the Governor's Office and Department of Developmental Services to share our lived experiences and ask for change. We just returned from our second trip to Sacramento last week, where we were able to give input to the development of the master plan, asked for diversity and equity, and share about the need for accessible communication. Amplifying our voices with actionable steps they can take when supporting us was powerful. We finished with a full day of training from DVU at their Together We Will Be Heard conference. We are so grateful for the difference they are making for us and others with disabilities.
This slide says at the top, separate is not equal, with a picture of Bella as a child, December 2014, and also May 2015. It also says not happy being held captive in a different school.
Now that you see who I am today, I was the same person back when I was in elementary school. I had potential, I was literate, I understood everything, yet I was living my worst nightmare. My experience in special ed and non-public school has to be the lowest point of my existence. The photos you see were taken when I was a student in a non-public school. I went to 3 in total. Though I had mixed experiences in each school, overall I hated them all. I was made to feel different, which in turn made me be different. Most of my teachers did not presume competence, which resulted in my days being filled with repetitive and remedial preschool level tasks. Having to relive these apathetic memories isn't easy. Every day, my teachers had a new opportunity to teach me new and novel information. Yet, every day was the same. Imagine having to assimilate to a life with no learning, no expectations, no connections or relationships of normalcy. I have strong feelings about non-public school and self-contained special ed classrooms. They have caused me needless suffering, trauma and anxiety that still plagues me today. In my NPS, it was normal to act out, elope and misbehave. Acting out was my only way to communicate back then. I was communicating with every ounce of my being. There was no PEX card that could have expressed everything I was thinking. Not having a reliable way to communicate and being misunderstood brought massive frustration and dysregulation. The special education program, as it existed for me, was broken. Segregation is not sustainable in life. Why would it be acceptable at school? One learns that the differences among us are too great. Not being included means you don't belong. This is hurtful and dehumanizing.
The slide says, in the beginning, we believed special education was going to be a smooth ride with everything we wanted and needed. A picture of a child next to a sports car, and under the picture of the child, you'll see our ticket to happiness, with a ticket that says, it's a beautiful life.
I started my educational journey in the special education early childhood program. The acronym was pronounced SEEK, as in seek and you shall find. What could be more powerful than that? As long as I keep seeking, I will find all the answers. All my wants and needs will be provided by my local school district. I thought I had found my Charlie Bucket golden ticket. There was a lot of candy in preschool. Many of the rewards and motivations were based on Skittles and Starbusts. Sometimes they switched it up to Nacho Cheese Doritos. I was 3. I had no functional communication, and soon my services for speech and occupational therapy were being phased out because I was not showing progress and I was not meeting my goals. By the time I was 6, I had attended 6 different schools. Let that soak in a minute. 6. A special ed student is not sent to their local school, but near their home, where their brothers attended, where their neighbors attend. A special ed student is shipped off to where they can receive the services they need. If they have complex needs, they are assigned to locations where those services exist. By the time I was 6, I had a behavior support plan, a paraprofessional, and was relegated to the self-contained, segregated classroom on campus, the island of misfit toys. Part of our functional learning was to pick up trash after lunch recess. I was no longer on a diploma track because I was diagnosed with an intellectual disability. The good news is I was no longer labeled a flight risk, and I met my communication goal of expressing wants and needs. I gave my teacher the PEX card for take a break and another card for blue blanket. I chose to spend every day sleeping in the bathroom on the diaper changing table. I was the only student in class who did not wear diapers, by the way. That's right. The wheels had fallen off the car. I had given up. But the IEP team spun it as a win. How could anyone sitting at the IEP table think a child choosing to sleep in a bathroom with a diaper pail is a win? Don't be afraid to speak up. Someone has to. Don't be afraid to be the one.
The slide shows the words, we soon learned it was more of an antiquated jalopy going nowhere, with a photo of an old car without wheels and the door falling off.
Next slide, please.
The slide shows a young child with the words, communication should be the expectation. Inclusion is a verb. Labels are for jars, and a red Solo cup with communication boards.
Inclusion. We hear about that often in the disability world, but the thing is, it is often a place or a program we are assigned to. For me, the privilege of having recess and lunch at the same time as the general education students is what my team considered inclusion. I would often spend this time alone on the playground slide, a place to sit and silently exist, while the rest of the students lived out loud. The last time I checked, inclusion isn't a noun, it's a verb. For me, that verb was missing someone who would support the action. I want you to think about this. My classroom was described as a language-rich environment. Some of you may have heard the description before. What does that really mean? Shouldn't language be a given in any environment? For me, that meant that I had a class where everything had a label or picture on it, as if I couldn't hear, see, or understand something my teachers were talking about. That was a big part of the problem. There was an assumption I didn't understand. Class instruction then was delivered in centers. Each center had a visual strip with several pecs labeling the center, such as math. I would pull off one of the pecs and place it in the plastic red Solo cup. This was my communication partner. When my mom told the team this was more of an exercise to teach the motor active pulling off the pecs, and asked for a communication partner for me to exchange communication with, the team removed the E and called it a picture communication system that was added to the accommodation page of my IEP. Having a communication tool and no one to support or communicate with me was frustrating. Here is an important message I include in just about every presentation I give. Communication shouldn't be an accommodation. It should be the expectation. Otto, let's break this down more.
The slide says, why are we always the crash test dummies in a fail-first design paradigm? With the words IEP, IDEA, SLP, LRE, IPP, PT, OT, ADA, BSP, DEI, broken promises of support with a crashed car in the lower left corner.
The laws that are in place that are supposed to support us actually hinder us. It feels like being a crash test dummy. It's a fail-first model. There is trauma in failure.
I totally agree, Otto. I'm going to jump ahead a little to my high school experience. I literally had a dream team that year, and all the supports and accommodations I needed were written in ink. Before I even started, though, I had to be tested by the school psychologist to prove that I was worthy of taking a few academic classes. How demeaning is that? My desire to learn was inconsequential. Fortunately, I was deemed competent enough to be given access to an algebra and English class for general ed students who were struggling. The only problem was that I developed panic attacks, and I couldn't even make it through the doors. Being sent to class that had academic demands with an untrained support staff was a recipe for disaster. It was a lesson learned, but that experience brought feelings of great sadness, because I never again was taken to my academic classes, and of the two support staff hired to help me, one gave me hope and we were building rapport, but I could only be with her for one class period. The other one was not a match for me. We didn't like each other, and she frankly never learned how to support my communication. My IEP viewed my communication as an accommodation. My needs went unmet and it was a humiliating experience. Public high school presented barriers I could not overcome. How was it that having an IEP worked against me time and time again?
I have to agree with you, Bella. For years, my mom asked that I be moved out of the severe class for students with autism. Side note, Can we stop to think about the impact of labeling a class and a student as severe? My educational path was determined by this label that was assigned through an assessment with a final destination of a severe class. From the beginning, segregated education and limited capacities were the expectation. The staff, students, and even I came to believe that I was severe because that is what my class and I were labeled. The No Child Left Behind Act became my ticket out in the 5th grade when the school I was at did not meet state standards. This meant that students had the choice to move schools, and I think I was the first special education student in our school district to exercise this right. I was moved to a mild moderate special education class across town. Another label, another segregated classroom, but it wasn't the end of the road, and I was no longer in the most severe class that our district assigned. They shipped my iTouch in a box, and it arrived with a cracked screen. This was accepted by the team as my voice until my mom requested an evaluation from an AAC specialist. She approved me for an iPad, but it would take 10 months before the school district ordered one for me. It arrived the last week of school, and the first thing I typed to my teacher was, "Go away." The team may not have seen that I was worth the change of placement or communication support until we proved the need, but I can guarantee you, what I had to say was worth the wait. Bella, was there a turning point for you?
Do you remember William's quote? Not only is communication the expectation, it is everything. It opens up the floodgates to access a life worth living. My mom found Darlene Hansen, a speech therapist who specialized in AAC when I was still at my first NPS. She presumed my competence and gave me confirmation that she understood my unruly body. Even though I couldn't stay seated and I was grabbing everything in sight, she managed to introduce me to text-based AAC. Something clicked. It made sense, and I wasn't being insulted by limiting and lame pictures to choose from. Picture exchange communication was limiting. The alphabet, on the other hand, was what I needed to express all my thoughts. Expressing myself through spelling and then typing didn't happen overnight, and certainly wasn't easy. With the guidance of my speech therapist, my parents learned how to support my impulsive and disorganized body. An educational specialist taught my mom how to teach me. I worked on demonstrating my learning and expressing my thoughts. It started as simple as pointing to an answer to an age-appropriate academic question. Heaven, learning made all the difference. There are so many ways to show understanding that does not involve speaking. This should be common knowledge, but if it is new to you, I am so glad that you are listening. Having access to communication allows me to direct my life and pursue what brings me joy. Learning brings me joy. Communication is everything.
The slide shows books, a computer, a typewriter, and the words presumption of competence, access and support to communication, multimodality, age appropriate, assistive technology, alternative and augmentative communication, with a picture of Otto at the typewriter.
I too met Darlene Hansen. I can't believe it has been 10 years. That is when the letters were finally falling into place. But there's more than the 26 letters. I learned about apraxia. I learned about presuming competence. I learned about text-based communication and AAC. I learned about physical and emotional regulation. She gave me the roadmap that finally made sense for me. We had an instant connection. Darlene knew learning was the easiest thing for me to do. The most challenging thing was demonstrating what I had learned. Without the ability to demonstrate, to document my ability to learn, I was being denied an academic education. My world was about to change drastically. Communication is everything. It is where everything begins and ends. But far too often it falls to the back of an I-E-P as a device on the action page. It is not enough to hand someone a stack of PEX cards or an iPad and think your job is done. Motor and sensory differences are often missed. The inability to effectively communicate is often blamed on the student. The student is labeled non-compliant, unmotivated, uncooperative, intellectually disabled. You have all heard the saying, if you judge a fish's ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life, believing that it is stupid. I am a fish. That is why I designed a waterproof letterboard. Now, with my 26 letters, I can tell you about the alternative ways to scale the tree trunk. No one thinks I'm stupid now, most importantly me. Think about age-appropriate curriculum and conversation. Segregated classrooms can be time capsules of perpetual preschool. Disabled individuals are often infantilized. Oral fluency is mistaken for cognitive ability. Just because you can't speak doesn't mean you can't think. Critical thinking skills are overlooked in special education. Choosing between a sweet and savory snack is not critical thinking skills. Once I had a robust system of communication and had found ways to calm my anxiety and regulate my body, I was reading Kafka's Metamorphoses, while my peers in segregated classrooms were still reading Eric Carle's The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Giving me the same opportunities as the other students in class has been something missing for most of my education. It has not always come easily for many teachers to understand that students with autism who are non-speaking think just as much, if not more, than the other students in class. For example, when I was only given access to PEX, my words were known phrases or choices that had been chosen for me. Other students are not told each thought they must choose from, but this was something that kept me from giving my thoughts their own expression. As we cruise forward, you can start with teaching us while presuming competence. Typical kids don't get limited to 5 words, nor are they limited to only speaking. We are all multimodal communicators. Accept all communication, but don't get so focused on the modality that you forget to teach and communicate with us.
This slide shows multiple pictures of Bella, 2016 to 2017, support, learning, worthy, and access.
Now that you have an understanding of my beginnings, you will understand how cathartic it was to experience a real education for the first time. Now comes the why. Why inclusion? The photos on this slide speak for themselves and they visually represent what access looks like. My glorious exposure to learning alongside my peers and the general ed curriculum began in 7th grade, in the fall of 2016, with an inquiry at a Catholic school, not far from the last non-public school I had attended a month prior. Would my non-speaking autistic daughter, who needs support to access the curriculum and to communicate, be welcomed in your school? My mom gave me her unwavering support and volunteered to be my communication support in order for me to have access. On my first day, hope was restored. The endeavor of learning had begun and it felt as it should. It felt right. Imagine all the firsts: having homework, learning algebra, and writing poetry. I discovered my love for history. I was lucky that I was able to have this meaningful educational experience for 2 years. By my 2nd year, I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. I was a different person before attending St. Pius. I experienced feelings and emotions that were not possible when excluded. Imagine, from mod severe placement to having access to what was my right to claim. It's hard to accept what was kept from me in all those early years. Having access changed everything about my life and my future. I believe in inclusion because all students have a right to an education that matters despite their differences. I believe in inclusion because not belonging is a punishment that no one deserves. I'd like to share what I should have had in all my educational settings. Next slide, please.
The slide shows multiple pictures of Bella, and it says tips, Team B, for tips for tomorrow.
I have to say that though I had been unlucky with school, despite all the advocacy efforts of my parents, home was another story. My parents managed to find me supports and services that best met my needs. But here's the thing, they all had to learn how to support me, and they all did. These are my OG communication partners who have all gone on to greater endeavors, but they will always carry the title of being part of Team B. Each of these wonderful ladies have shared with me some key points for you to take to your classrooms tomorrow. It's about action. You must do something different in order to see change. Christina from the top left picture started supporting me at the age of 14, 4 years into my communication journey. Her first tip was unanimously shared by all of Team B, and that is to presume competence. She says that you have to actually be able to know what presuming competence means and find ways that you do. My questions to you are, do you teach your students age or grade appropriate academics? School is where students go to learn. That includes students who have disabilities. Are you enriching their minds or are you wasting their time? Make your environment match the grade and age that you teach. These are ways to presume competence. Annalisa, from the pic on the lower left, is a school psychologist now. Listen to her wise words. It's up to educators to push against the grain and look for opportunities to create safe environments for all students. Neurodivergent learners do not have to prove their worth to learn alongside their peers. I'll end with Brianna, the one in the lower right picture, who I credit for helping me survive my senior year of virtual high school. Together we killed it, and I was able to earn my diploma. She wanted to remind you that every student is a person with opinions to share, emotions to express, needs to be met, who is seeking human connections and knowledge like anyone else. How will any of those things be possible without a reliable means of communication? Learn from us. Learn from those who have supported us. I hand it over to my besties, who each have some valuable tips for you too.
I would like to talk about my device for a moment. Please do not take my device and let another student model communication. It is offensive and invasive. Can you imagine if a teacher dumped a student out of their wheelchair so he could model wheelchair mobility? No, you cannot. My device is my voice. It is not a toy to be shared. If you believe modeling is important, then find a peer who successfully uses AAC to model their communication interaction. Or get an extra device and model communication with the second device. Another action that was infuriating was when the speech therapist would move the icons or hide icons because she did not want to give me access to a certain icon. Think about how frustrating it is when the icons on your smartphone move places. If I know the chip's icon is always in the upper right-hand corner and now it's not there. In fact, it was hidden completely because she ran out of chips and has no rewards today. It will be no surprise I lose my composure. This was the days of icon-based communication and food as rewards. Now that I have 26 letters, that scenario does not happen anymore. Can you imagine if a speech therapist rearranged the letters on my keyboard to prove I
Well
know how
said,
to
Bill
spell? Because she did not want me to spell the word chips. Ridiculous, right? Lastly, can we talk about deficit labels? Defining someone by the things they cannot do is harmful. Please stop using the terms non-speaking and non-verbal when describing someone with a speech-related disability. I am a multimodality communicator. I am an AC user. I am a baller and a scholar. I am so much more than someone who lacks oral fluency.
Well said, Bella and Otto. My inclusion challenge to you all is to see me, not my AAC. Be less interested in how I communicate and more interested in what I have to say. Together, we can build a partnership where you presume competence in me, and I am able to presume competence in you.
The slide says, reaching for the stars may be too much of a leap of faith, but we can agree reaching the finish line is a minimum, with a picture of a checkered flag and a race car.
Next. With the right support, we can all reach the finish line. Interdependence is vital. When we hyper-focus on independent communication, instead of focusing efforts towards robust systems of communication, everyone loses. Look at how the pit crew supports the race car driver. No one expects that driver to do it alone. Not one single person. And making a pit stop does not affect the other racers. Everyone gets what they need when they need it.
What's next? World domination, a new day is dawning, with pictures of Otto.
What's next? World domination, of course. I am already the reigning king of inclusion in Otto Nation, where everyone belongs. World domination is a natural next step. But all kidding aside, my dream is to talk myself out of a job. My dream is to be invited to conferences because I am a baller and a scholar, not to discuss ideas for inclusion and what caused my crash and burns. I imagine a world where segregation is a thing of the past, a world where we remember disability rights are human rights, where communication, access and support are considered before anything else. I am a state ambassador for CalAble, the tax-free savings plan for disabled people. I plan to make CalAble the #1 able account in the nation. I will continue slinging my swag on ottosmottos.com. Waterproof letterboards and hit fits that rep inclusion. Merge with the message, just get different. I will start University of San Diego in the fall. Yes, that is right. I will be a college freshman. I want to rub it in the faces of the people who did not presume competence, who did not believe I had any potential beyond custodial jobs and menial tasks, who talked about me in front of me because they believed I had no receptive language. But I am way classier than that. I know a life well lived is the best revenge. My life is a moonshot, and those who provided the rocket fuel to power my endeavors, you know who you are. You know why I matter, why my success is bigger than me. You know how I got here. And you most certainly know there are more who's in whoville. Please remember, none of this would have been possible without communication. Inclusion is only viable if you have a sense of belonging and a robust system of communication.
What's next? For Bella, lifetime learner, travel the world, future beauty brand owner, and launching our Soul Collective.
What's next for me is continuing to live my life with purpose and challenging myself to try hard things. I plan to continue attending Golden West College, where I have an amazing counselor and fellow peers who understand and don't judge me. I'm also excited to launch a micro enterprise with my bestie, William, called our Soul Collective, where we will be creating and producing positive themed merchandise. Our mission is to promote needed waves of change. Our message is simple but true. The sun shines for everyone. Isn't that what inclusion is all about? Finally, my dream is to develop my own brand cosmetic line. Having a dream is life affirming. Inclusion is life affirming. Inclusion like life is meant for everyone.
And photos of William. What's next? Inclusion, our Soul Collective, lifelong learner, travel, public speaker.
What's next? Boy, is that exciting. Giving me opportunities to learn will always be important to me. For so long, people assumed I couldn't learn or wasn't interested in age-appropriate subjects. I am almost done with my high school diploma. I haven't decided on my next steps, but know that college, no matter how that looks, will be part of my future. Public speaking is something that I love doing and plan to continue. It's funny, I started with presenting about how I communicate, but now with communication access, there are infinite possibilities that I can speak about. I am, and will always be an advocate for communication rights and inclusion. In April, the Spellers Foundation launched a hazy IPA called Get On Board that I helped create with Golden Road Brewery. Look for it in Southern California at Bevmo, Total Wine, Stater Brothers, and some Ralph stores. As part of this project, Underestimated TV filmed a docu-series that shows what inclusion can accomplish. That's right, a beer and a TV episode showing what is possible with inclusion. Now, that is something to put in your solo cup. Follow Underestimated.tv for information on how you can watch the Spellers TV series. I am in episode 3. Travel and new experiences have my heart, and I definitely plan to continue exploring the world with my letterboard, family, and friends. Stay tuned for what's to come with the Our Soul Collective micro enterprise Bella, and I will be developing. Most importantly, I plan to live a life designed by, and for me, as I try to make a difference in the world.
The slide says thank you with ways to contact the Mod Squad.
Thank you for listening. Now dry your tools and blow your horses. Here are my thanking colleagues. This is a safe.
They're the in crowd, we're the other ones. It's a different kind of cloth that we're cut from. We let our colors show where the numbers ain't. We're the paint where there ain't supposed to be paint. That's who we are. That's how we roll. The outsiders. The outsiders. Our women get hot and our liver gets stained when we saddle up and ride 'em in the pouring rain. We're the junkyard dogs, we're the alley cats, keep the wind at our front and the hell at our back. That's who we are. You ain't talking, walk that walk, wide open rockin'. That's how we roll. Back to the wall, a band of brothers, together along the outside of We're the young guns, we're the ones that they told you to run from. Yeah, the player's gonna play and a hater's gonna hate, and a regulator's born to regulate. When it hits the fan and it all goes down and the gloves come off, you're gonna find out just who we are. We do our talking, walk that walk, wide open rockin', that's how we roll. Back to the wall, a band of brothers, together along the outsiders. We're the riders, we're the ones burning rubber off our tires. Yeah, we're the fighters, they all nighters. The fire 'em up and get a little higher. The outsiders, the outsiders. You're gonna know who we are.
Thank you so much, Mod Squad. I don't know if you're reading the chat, but so many amazing comments, and for certain change has happened in the last hour that the three of you have presented. So thank you so much for starting day 2 of the conference in such an impactful way. We appreciate you and look forward to continuing our collaboration. And for everyone in the conference, the breakout sessions are starting at 10. If you move back to the agenda and choose your breakout session and move in, they should be underway currently. Look forward to the rest of the conference, and we will see you again shortly. Bye-bye.